Hello, in this video we will learn about the Pfizer vaccine working and complication. So against the COVID-19 here, there is a nucleocapsid protein and RNA, spike glycoproteinase and lipid bilayer membrane, hemagglutinin esterase and membrane protein and envelope protein. This is the COVID-19 virus, the SARS-CoV-2. And let's begin to understand the Pfizer vaccine working and complication. So first of all, we will understand about the working of the Pfizer vaccine. Then we will understand about the complication and how it is possible. Vaccine is a mRNA based and used host machinery for synthesis of protein is known as spike protein. So for example, the spike protein is basically are present in the upper part of the virus. The membrane coat containing here is the spike protein. The spike protein is specialized for the invasion of the virus, and the SARS-CoV-2 cells contain mRNA. This mRNA basically used to synthesis of the vaccine and how it is possible. Let's begin to understand. Replication viral mRNA that codes for surface spike protein is isolated. When isolated, it will be used through a biotechnological tool like PCR to amplify this segment. After this amplification of this segment will be covered as a vaccination formation with the mRNA is packaged in lipid nanoparticle and delivered to cell. So this nanoparticle is contain lipid and it is a lipid based vaccine. This lipid based vaccine contain a mRNA more than one, and it is basically synthesis, and in this way the packaging will lead to vaccine formation after the packaging and will deliver to the several countries and several regions from the Pfizer company. So let's begin to understand the packaging. Packaging should be important for the any contamination inhibition, any contamination prevention, and the preventive measure to bacterial as well as viral free vaccine. This vaccination after the packaging will lead to introduce to the person any type of tissue, for example into the intramuscular tissue. An injection will lead to enter the mRNA into the cell or into the tissue, so will synthesize the spike protein by using this mRNA. Remember that the spike protein is basically is also the characteristic for the SARS-CoV-2 cells, and this spike protein will produce on the surface of the cell on the plasma membrane like a receptor, and this is the protein. After this is the basically not our protein, it is against the our immune system. So this is the antigen we recognize through CD4 positive T lymphocyte T helper cell, and in this way the CD4 molecule we recognize, and the major histocompatible molecule 1, and which that will show this antigen as a dendritic cell formation like, and this B cell will recognize through a CD4 T cell will help to activate the B cell and produce inflammatory cytokines like interleukin 2, interleukin 6 for the proliferation of the B cell, for the proliferation of the B cell to produce the plasma cell, but in the case of the vaccination the B memory cell will produce. This B memory cell is a part of adaptive immune system. Anyhow, the antibodies against the antigen will produce from the B memory cell, and the adaptive immune response will be occur, and this will lead to also inhibit the spike protein containing tissue. So this is the immunization. The immune cell mount, respond and make antibodies for virus. Remember, and after this, the immunoglobulin will be part of our body for against pathogen. Arrival of the pathogen will lead to combating and clear the infection quickly, and it will prevent to infection. This is the adaptive immune response. Let's begin to understand the vaccine working in the cell. So this is the endoplasmic reticulum and nucleus. This is a vaccine containing droplet of lipid will enter through a toll-like receptor. This toll-like receptor will recognize and enter this mRNA containing vaccine containing mRNA. It will be endosome formation through toll-like receptor. After the toll-like receptor, the endosome formation will lead to basically to the two pathway. Number one pathway is the interferon 1 pathway, while the other pathway is the ribosome used to replicate this mRNA, as well as the transcription is not occur, but translation of this mRNA into the protein in the endoplasmic reticulum, and in this way it will be modified through Golgi apparatus. These Golgi bodies will be modified, but in this case here is produce a protein, also spike protein directly will link and go into the plasma membrane as an antigen, but also proteasome formation. This proteasome will go into the Golgi bodies to modify, and in this way the receptor, the MHC2 molecule will be combined together and export into the plasma membrane. And in this way, the export into the plasma membrane, the CD8 T lymphocyte, the cytotoxic T cell will be arrive and give the response. In this way, the CD8 molecule containing a cytotoxic T cell will produce the green enzyme after the recognition of this antigen, and it is activated via CD4. So in this way, this is the perforin and the green enzyme will produce. After this, perforin and green enzyme will enter, will lead to apoptosis of the cell. And also it will be bind with the plasma membrane as a antigen, and it will be recognized through CD4. Again, I am discussing to the CD4 T cell, and will recognize through a MSC1 molecule to the B cell through B cell receptor, and after also the antibody containing response also through B cell will produce more antibodies, but also it will enter it will be enter and the endosome formation against to another tissue, and the Golgi bodies also synthesis the MSC class 1 molecule and through our MSC class 2 molecule on the basis of CD8 or CD4 T lymphocyte. After this, the MHC2 molecule will be go into the plasma membrane, and again this reaction will occur, and it is the working of the Pfizer vaccine. But remember that what is the side effect can be possible, which that is we have discussing in the problematic things like rumor is going on, and there is a lot of complication, and the people are thinking about the many complication can be arrive in the person who have vaccinated. But how it is possible? Let's begin to understand. During the vaccination, the interferon alpha and beta and pro-inflammatory cytokines will produced by the another pathway is known as the IFN1 pathway, interferon 1 pathway, and it will lead to more pro-inflammatory cytokines and interferon alpha and beta, which that will be more create the complication like colitis, dermatitis, lupus erythematosus, hemolytic anemia, cervicitis and lupus cystitis, encephalitis, multiple sclerosis, and myasthenia gravis, cardiomyopathy, acute respiratory failure, and the injection site vasculitis, seizure, alopecia, areata, anaphylactic shock, and anaphylaxis pregnancy. aplastic anemia, thrombosis, arrhythmias, arthritis, asthma, bronchospasm, and the asthma, bronchospasm, cardiac arrest, heart failure, and chest discomfort, shocking and chronic autoimmune glomerulonephritis, etc., which that can be happen if the more interferon alpha and beta chronically produce and pro-inflammatory cytokines due to the chronic immune response, which that will lead to cause these complications through Pfizer vaccine. And this we have discussed about the working and the complication. Thanks for watching. Bye.